Hey everybody, it's Tim at Broken Dice. We're going to do another little solo battle report here. Got Saxons versus Vikings again. This time, the methodology I'm going to use is I'm going to be, instead of like in the last video I did, I was actually taking an active role in the game. This time I'm going to be more of an observer, and I'm going to try to remove myself from the game as much as possible and kind of just watch how it plays out. How do the different units behave and perform as we roll the dice and go through. Now, obviously, I'm going to be using some Hail Caesar rules, and I'm going to modify a few things. Like a lot of times for all my leadership, I use D12s. Break test, I use a D12. Orders, I use a D12, that sort of thing. But most of the other stuff, like for all your stats and stuff, is the standard D6. And we can see here on the battlefield, we have the Saxons on this side, on the right side of the screen, and the Vikings are on the left. What's going to become kind of important in the game is this clump of woods right here. It's very large. And with the extended line of the Saxons, they're kind of overlapping this area. Can they use that to their advantage? I don't know. But as we look down on the other end, on the Vikings, on their far left, they have some units down there that kind of outnumber the far left of the Saxon line. So can that benefit the Vikings? We have two things going on here. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how they play out. Neither thing is overly powerful, but it adds a little unknown to what's going to go on. So we're going to see how this all plays out. We're going to use, we got this woods. How is it going to play, and how is that overstacked units over there on the Viking far left going to pan out for them? So we're going to issue some orders, and again, I'm going to be using my cards with some hidden benefits and stuff for each side. Again, we will not be able to see those until after the orders, the initial orders are given for that turn, and then we can apply them kind of in a random situation, whatever character have them for their particular division. We'll get more into that when it happens. I don't belabor the point right now. So let me go ahead and we'll roll for some initiative, see who goes first, and then we will deal out some cards, issue some orders, flip some cards over, issue those out to the units for some advantages. Now, in the first turn, obviously, unless everybody moves 3 turns and gets some sort of outlandish movement, those cards may not play into this particular phase of the game. But like in my first video, you can actually stack cards if you want to on particular units. So if they don't use it, then they can just hang there and maybe give them an extra buff when they get another card on top of them. So it'll be kind of fun to see how this all plays out. So let me roll for some initiative here. We'll use the black, there we go. The black and gray dice. The black dice are for the Saxons. The gray dice are for the Vikings. And here we go. So the Saxons have won the initiative. We're going to issue some orders, roll some dice for that, and then we'll be right back. Okay, here we have the far right division of the Saxons. He failed his orders. Miraculously, he rolled an 11, so luckily he didn't get a blunder. We've got the cards dealt out, and we will just move the camera a little bit. Hopefully nobody suffers from movement sickness. And we have the other division. It passed its order and moved 1 movement. So let's flip some of these cards over and see what we have. Now we see that the general, I'll try to stay out of the frame as much as possible. The army general is right here. He gets a card as well. I allow the army general to add that card to any unit in the army. So obviously, if I was participating, then I would make that choice. But since it's I'm in an observer mode here, I am going to have to randomly pick a division and then randomly pick a unit within that division to get that extra card, just like I'm going to randomly pick a unit for these sub-commanders here with their cards and see what kind of things develop there. And it'll be fun to see how these kind of things may stack up on a unit, and if they do, but there's a lot of options available. I did a intro video on how I do this before, so I'm not going to belabor the point on how the cards work. You'll pick it up as it goes along and what they are. Okay, well, that was an uneventful Saxon first turn. So let's swing over to the, oh, I guess I got to flip the cards over. Let's see what we got here. This ought to be fun. All right, for this sub-commander, we've got, an uncertain vassal. You select one unit that is disordered. That unit has the levy special rule. This lasts until disorder is passed. Oh, goodness. Well, yeah. So that's something I can play on my opponent. And so obviously I'm not going to put it on my own unit, but I can put this on. So I'm going to leave that card with him so he can be able to play that upon a different unit. So what I should do then is, as we have, let me move the camera again so we can see how this is going to work. All right. I got my division guy over here. This guy's division is here. And then we have the other division, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now what I need to do is randomize what unit in one of these divisions gets this card. So, which will be a big deal because they will basically start their turn disordered. Okay? And so we have a chance of them starting the turn disordered and remaining disordered, which we all know you can't give orders to disorder. You can't give orders to disordered units and that sort of thing. So, how do we want to do this? All right. So let's take this big white dice, and we'll go odds and evens. If it's an even number, it'll go on to this division. If it's an odd number, it will go on this division. So let's see what we get here. Let's bring out a tray so we're not throwing dice all over the table. And it is an even number. So it goes on that division, right? I think that's what I said. Evens, odd. Yeah, it goes on that division. Now what we need to do is we've got 4 units. And do I have a die 4? I think I do have a die 4. Hold on a second. It's in my box. I should have got that out sooner. Anyway, so what we're going to do is the herdmen, they're going to be number 1, number 2, number 3, and then the unit on the hill will be number 4. And whichever number I roll up, that's the one that gets this very disruptive card. Okay? And I roll number 3. So that would be the unit on the far end. They will begin their turn disordered. Okay. Well, that's boogers for them. But, okay, let's see what the Army General's card is. Whoops. Let's see. Okay, we have been at this for years. Units have the drilled special rule for 1 turn. Okay, so he can give this to any unit. So first of all, I know this is going to seem like it's dragging out a while, but it's kind of the only fair way I can do it as an observer. So again, we have to pick a division, and then we have to pick a unit within that division. All right. So take out the 4-sided dice. So everything, this division that we're looking at right here will be evens, and the division off here to the left over that way will be odds. So let's we'll just roll this die 12 and see what we get here. And we rolled an odd number, so that's the division to the left. And now obviously it has 4 units, and let's just hold on. Let me move the camera over. Okay, so what we have here is unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, we are going to roll the die 4 and see which one of these units get it. Unit number 2. So this unit is now drilled for 1 turn. So that's one of those that's just, it's not gonna be very relevant to the game for right now because it doesn't last from turn to turn. It specifically just is only 1 turn. If we were in combat and that kind of thing already, that card can really help out. And so for that sub-commander, let's see what he has. One of your units gains the Marauder special rule until they are defeated in combat. Ooh, that can be a good one. So obviously, I would like for it to be the unit on the far end, because it's going to probably wind up being the furthest away from his ability to command, because usually, historically with this time period, most of your commanders would be with like a Huskarl unit on either side of the army. They would be in the mix of the fighting, not sitting back like the army general giving orders and stuff, okay? So with this one, that's a good one until they're beaten in combat. All right. So we're going to roll. Again, obviously, it's from my right to left. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And it is number 1. Oh, yeah, the Herdman unit. Yeah, that ought to be pretty good. Until they're beaten in combat. Interesting. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of the Saxon turn. Let's go ahead on the other side and let's work on the Vikings. All right, we're over here on the Viking side, on the far left division. We're going to roll, and he's going to issue some orders to advance. And that is from, oh gosh, I forgot my little pointer. So you have to see my finger. This unit of Herdman, and then the 3 unit of Bonde on the far left. He rolled an 8, which is his leadership, so they get 1 move. Okay, and let's flip the cards over first before we move anybody. This might be interesting. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. That unit on the far left is disordered. Oh, I better get a marker out for them. Okay, got my little disorder marker put out. Yeah, so the other 3 units, they can move forward 1. But this unit won't be able to get rid of its disorder until it rolls a 4+. And obviously, you roll for that at the end of your turn. Yeah, that's a big deal. That card is devastating. Okay, so yeah, let's look at his card, see what we might want to do with that. Oh, it's a nefarious blank card, so he got nothing. Okay, that's interesting. We'll slide that right underneath there. Well, I better put it on the gray one so I can actually see it. All right, we'll put that underneath. And so let's move the camera a little bit, and we will go to the right division. What's that white division commander's card? What did he get? Ah, another blank card. Ooh, so much for the Vikings. Well, we still have the Army General right there. So let's see what his card. Jesus criminy. Well, sometimes you like to get bad stuff out of the way early. A blank card. Yeah, I put some of those in the deck just so, like, you just never know. It's just that way. You just don't know what you're going to get until you make the orders. Okay, um, let's roll for this right division over here and see how far they move. 5, and these an 8, so that's 3. They get 3 moves. Now, we need to see whether he wants to move out and engage this way. I don't know. Oh, I guess I should go over something really interesting that I'm doing this time. At least I find it interesting. In the regular rules, when you're developing the Viking army, you can add berserkers to some units, and that gives them the wild fighter rule and tough fighter rule and stuff like that. So instead of doing that, right here, if you can see this guy with this kind of orangey red cloak, well, this is a small unit of berserkers, and I've decided to put them in their own unit, and I've given them all kinds of stuff. So it's a very expensive small unit, and I will be interested to see how they operate in the game. If they hadn't got all blank cards, maybe the Viking, we could have rolled up something to even add more to what they've got. So they have got, let me read off what I got on their card. Yeah. Okay, I gave them wild fighter, tough fighter, stubborn, and valiant. So I go off the base unit of cost of what a herdman unit would, reduce it to a small unit in cost, and then add all that other stuff. So they're like 29 points for a small unit. That's really expensive. So that'll be kind of fun to play with and see how they operate. Now here's a tactical thing. Since this division can move 3, do we really want our units coming out of the woods and engaging? Because if they're going to attack everything to the front like they should, yeah, that's going to be quite interesting how this works out. Okay, so since they got 3 moves, we're going to measure the movements and move out and engage these pesky Saxons. Okay, now that we've got the movement done, let's pan over left to right. All right, this left division has moved forward 1 move. The far left Bondi unit obviously starts the game disordered, so they received no orders, and so we're going to roll at the end of the turn to see if they get away from that. And that'll be an interesting little development if they don't. And over on the far right division, better raise the camera up since they moved so far. They have engaged the Thanes of the Saxon and a unit of Krills from the Saxons. Now, what you should notice here, and which I should have done earlier, sorry I didn't do this, right here is a small unit of herdmen and a small unit of Bondi. I don't know. I was just trying to find a way of making it a little bit of a different game and different compositions. And that's why I added the unit of Berserkers and then broke this unit up here into an actual unit. And so, like, in the future, I might just put these guys in with this unit and say, okay, they're herdmen with Berserkers in them. Okay? That sort of thing. And or put them in with one of the Huskarl unit or something like that. I mean, it gives me options to change the way the flavor of the army plays. All right, so since we've got this, we're going to move over to the Saxons. Well, we're going to move the camera down and we're going to zoom in on the combats here, roll some dice, and see what happens. Well, it didn't take long for me to figure out I just made a mistake. Since these two units, these two small units right here, were in the woods, they had to be in open order. And then they had to change to closed order once they got out of the woods. Well, changing from open to closed costs you. Well, it's English. It will cost you one movement, and if that happens, then they're not going to be able to reach that unit there. So here's the question: Do I can't leave them in open order because then they can't charge that unit of closed order troops. Interesting. Or do I back them up? So it'd be kind of like they just come howling out of the woods and they're not disordered, but they're more in open order and they charge into that unit. Or do I move them backwards? That's a tactical choice. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, like normal, roll a dice to see what I should do. Can't believe I didn't figure that out. Let's move the camera down so we can actually see the dice roll this time. Okay, let's see. Evens, they back up. Odds, they continue the fight, but they fight as open order troops. Or can they do that? Let me look and see whether open order can charge closed order to the front. Okay, after looking at the book and reading a few of the rules and stuff, I've come to the decision that if they are to continue to fight, they will fight as open order troops with the -1 to hit penalty. So, which will be negated because they charged. So, they charge, they get a plus. They're in open order, they get a minus. So, it's going to be straight up 4+, which is really a disadvantage in the long run. Or tactically, I could move them back to the edge of the woods where they reform into close order. So I think, since I am an observer of this game rather than a strict participant, I shall roll a dice, and I'm going to roll a big white six-sided dice, and evens, they move back and reform into close order, or if I roll an odd number, they stay in contact and fight it out the way they are. And I rolled a 3. So they're going to fight it out the way they are. Open order. So for this turn, they're going to be -1 to hit. And so, but they're charging, so it's a plus. So basically it's a wash here for both of these units. But it is a benefit for the unit that is being charged. Okay, so let's roll some dice here. This will be fun. Okay, so both of those are small units. Okay, so the small unit of Herdman, we will use gray dice for these Vikings. And so that we have 5 on the clash. And then for the Bondi unit, they have 5 on the clash. So this will be a total of 10 attacks. Oof. That could hurt. So what I think I'll do then, I'm going to roll a dice for my Saxons. Not my Saxons, but the Saxons, to see if they close ranks. How's that? That'll be interesting. That would give them a +1 to their morale, which would only make it 5+, which is better than the 6 that I've given them now. Interesting dilemma. Okay, I'm going to roll a dice. On an even, they close ranks. On an odd, they stay where they are. Okay, they stay as they are. Okay, so here we go with the Vikings. 4+ for both units to hit. Okay, what did we get here? We've got... Nope, nope. Oh, dear Lord, that's bad for 10 dice. 3 actual hits out of 10 dice. Yikes. Well, my Saxons, they only save on a 6 because I do like, if they don't have any actual body armor on them, I only give them the shield, which I allow them to have a 6 morale. So let's go for 6s. No 6s, so they do take 3 points of damage. Coming back, those Creoles have 6 attacks. Six. They'll be hitting on 4+. I tell you what, we're going to go 3 and 3. 3 against the Bonde and 3 against the... I'll tell you what, I'll use these big dice here for the attacks going against the Herdman. Okay, so here we go. 4+. All right, we got 2 against the Herdman, 1 against the Bonde. And so the 2 against the Herdman, they save on a 4+. Didn't save either one. And a save of 6 for the Bonde. No. So they do a total of 3. So we've got 2 and 1. And then the 3 for the Saxons. That, okay, we'll just roll that on up there. And you can see that's this combat right here was a draw. So now we will move on and roll the dice for this combat right there. And as you notice, sub-commander's in there. We'll see how this turns out. Okay, so now we have, I just knocked the forest over. Let's get these out of there. All right. These are a unit of Herdmen, and they will have 7 attacks, hitting on 3s. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, well, they did awfully well. And I do believe the Viking Herdmen have tough fighters, so they can re-roll this one miss, and they hit. So they hit with all 7. Take those out. And we'll go now with the small unit of berserkers that are riding right alongside of them. So we got, how did I do those berserkers? I know they got a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, here we go, lots of stuff. First off, they got 5 attacks. Okay, wow. Okay, very good. So But because they have wild fighter and tough fighter, they get to re-roll 4 dice. So they're going to re-roll these 4. Okay, so they've hit 3 times. And then the Saxons need to save these 3 on a 4+. Saved all 3 of them. Ooh, interesting. So now we go back to the 7 that they need to save from the herdman. Oops, wrong colored dice. Yeah. These are 4+. So they only saved 2 of those and took 5. That's dangerous. Okay, they were lucky. So we have 5 damage on the Saxons. Oof. Woof. The Saxons are coming back now, and they have 7 attacks. There's 4. Oops, one color dice. 2, 3, 4, and then we got these 3 hitting on 4s. Okay. Having the tough fighter themselves, they re-roll this, and they miss again. So they hit 5 times. So the yeah, here we go. We're going to go with 5 saves. A 4+, and they saved 4 of them, and we will go and put one of those damages on those wild berserkers. Okay, and now, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't roll the 2 supporting attacks for having my character in there. So here we go. Yeah. Nope. Oh. Okay. Oh, and then he hit. So Saxon saved. Nope. Well, that. Interesting. That's what I hate about this. You know what? I'm not going to add those attacks in because, see, that would change up the math and everything. So I'm not going to put him in. I'm not going to roll to see if he's injured, and I'm just not going to put those attacks in because I forgot about them. But hopefully next time I will not. So the Saxons lose by 4. So we need to roll for them on the break test table. And I rolled a 2. Man, that's horrible. Ah, right off the start. I hate that for the Saxons. And on the herdman, that's all they've got is that tough fighter. So they are destroyed. I'm lucky that sub-commander, I hadn't put him with that unit, so he's not dead. He's going to have to move over here to one of his Bonde units. Well, this is bad. This is bad. Okay, the next thing is, now do I do not the follow-up, but the other one where you move forward? I think the berserkers wouldn't have an option in that. This seems characterful that they would just keep moving forward and stuff. So since there's no unit to follow up, sweeping advance. Up to 2 moves. but there's no unit right to their front. So I'm not sure whether that's the Berserkers are going to do a sweeping advance because I feel like it's a character. I know what. Let's just roll the dice. Let's just roll the dice. Here we go. The big white dice will be the Berserkers. On a 4+, they sweeping advance, and the gray dice will be the Herdman, and on a 4+, they will do a sweeping advance. Neither one does a sweeping advance, so they kind of just stay right where they're at. All right, that's interesting. So this unit is destroyed. This was a drawn combat. Wow. Maybe they had that unit in there. They no longer have the wild fighter thing, but still, that was a little much, I think. But they missed with all their attacks, so it was really basically Herdman versus things like on like. So they really didn't tip the scale of the combat that much. Okay, yeah, interesting. So let's clean this up, and this will bring us to the end of turn 1. Oh yeah, one thing I've got to do is I have to roll to see if that disorder comes off that Bondi unit on the far left on a 4+. Okay, so that disorder comes off, so next Viking turn they'll be able to move. So at the start of turn 2, we'll roll for initiative again to see who gets to go and see what happens. Okay, beginning turn 2, we roll for initiative. Again, the black dice are the Saxons and the gray dice are the Vikings. Vikings get the initiative here. Oof, oof, oof. That could spell doom and gloom for my Saxons pretty early on. Or I should say the Saxons, since I'm not really playing. So let's deal out the cards here. One for the general, and one for each of the sub-commanders. And we will see what they have here. All right, so we move this up. For this sub-commander, we have got well, this might help. Here we go. Unreliable ally. Your opponent picks one of your units. They suffer from the freshly raised special rule for 1 turn. So, obviously what we're going to do is, since this guy has this card, yeah, he picks one of your units. And so he's going to pick what? What unit? So I guess we'll have to go do the random thing from the 2 divisions. Okay, big white dice here. Okay, odds, it'll be one of these 3 units here. Evens, it'll be one of these 3 units here. Okay, yeah, odds. So it picks one of those. So it's a die 3 now, since there's only 3 units left in the division. So we got 1, 2, and 3. Number 3 is now freshly raised. So giving them orders might be a trip. I don't know how that's going to have to look that one up myself. Haven't used that very often. Okay, so let's look at the other cards here. This is for the Army General. Oh, twice in a row, a blank card. That's bad. And then for the other sub-commander, Christmas. These Vikings, man, they don't want a lot of extra stuff. Another blank card. That makes a difference though, like if you're playing an opponent and you don't know whether they've got stuff or not, it kind of changes the way you may issue you orders and stuff, because some of those things can really tip the balance. All right, so now let's issue some orders to our Vikings. Well, obviously the Vikings are going to try to do what? That'll that victorious unit right here, these two. It's very interesting. Do I take this division and issue orders to them first? Because obviously, if I turn and face this way, next combat, we're talking rolling stuff up. Well, and they'll do that, and it'll be this great big cluster over there on the far right. But if I do that, and then in the Saxon turn, they're able to turn, and there's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a dice and see which division operates first. All right, since this is a Viking roll, great dice. Eek. If the big dice rolls higher, then we will issue orders to this division. And if the small dice is higher, I will issue orders to this division. Okay, here we go. All right, so the division off to the left gets to issue orders first. So let's see what he does. He's going to, obviously, for this time period, he's going to advance into the very teeth of the Saxon line. 4. He's an 8, so they all move 3 moves. So let's pause this, move the camera down, and because they are definitely going to get into combat this time. Okay, this is interesting. At least it is to me. The move allowed this unit and this unit to make it to combat, but these two units, because this one was disordered, so it couldn't receive orders the first turn, and this is the unit that was up on the hill. They're still outside of range to reach, but they moved their full distance. But they also weren't close enough to get up into support. So it's not all doom and gloom for the Saxons yet. So now let's move back down to the other end and see what kind of orders we want to issue to those 2 freed up units that were victorious last turn. Yep. Okay, these 2 units, having destroyed that 1 unit to their front, what to do with them? Got to make a decision. Well, obviously, I think now that this unit is in combat and covering their rear, we're going to turn. I mean, most logical players would turn and try to destroy this division right here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to issue orders for them to turn and prepare to charge into these combats the next turn, because now you can't charge a unit that's not in your charge arc at the beginning of your turn. I mean, I kind of like that one, because other than for like light cavalry and stuff, it didn't seem to make a lot of sense where they had that much maneuverability. Okay, so now these guys, this is a very important leadership role. So we're going to issue that order to, they're going to move as far as they can. Or should I just move into support? If I do that, then I'd have to issue individual orders to each one, because I would like to have this one support here this one move to support that. That would be reasonable. Okay, so let's do this. Again, this is one of those tactical decision choices. So I'm going to go odds and even again. If I roll an odd, then they will try to issue individual orders to move and support the combats to either right or left. If I roll an even, then they will advance forward and turn to face one of these divisions. Okay, so let's roll. I rolled an odd dice, so now we have to issue individual orders to see if they go and support. So first off, he's going to issue an order to his own unit here. Can I do it? Nah. God, here's the decision. Follow me. Roll, for this to move up and support seems excessive. So we're going to do an individual order on these Vikings first to move over and support this unit here. And they failed. Okay, well. That didn't work out for that division, did it? Maybe they're just tired from the fight before. Well, that gives the Saxon side a respite a little bit. So now we need to go into combat. And since we've got the camera set up over here, we might as well just go ahead and do this one again. Since it was a drawn combat, everybody goes back to normal, and they're hitting on 4 pluses. So we know that it was a drawn combat. It's the Vikings' turn, so they get 10 attacks. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we are at, let's see, they are in open order because you can't change your formation while you're in combat. So they're in open order still for both these guys. So they will have to hit on a 5 plus. Okay, so that's 3. That's 3 from them. The Saxons, they need 6s to save. Nope. So they take 3 more. That makes them shaken. Wow, this is going to be a strange combat, I think. So, what does that card say that they are? They are drilled, but they're also shaken now. Okay. And they received 3 damage this turn. So coming back against the Vikings, then, we need 4 more white dice. And now that they're shaken, they will be hitting on a 5. Move this up. They will be hitting on a 5 plus. And they hit twice. The Vikings need to save 2. And they saved both. Okay, so now they are shaken and lost the combat by 3. This is a big time roll for the Saxons. All right, let's move this out. Out. I want to hit the camera. And then break test time. Or should we do all the combats first? I may have, the divisions aren't really that close together anyhow. 8 minus 3 is 5. I need to look that up. I don't have this stuff memorized. Okay, I rolled a 5, obviously. And so they, I didn't roll a 5, rolled an 8, but minus the 3, it's 5. So they gave ground and became disordered along with supports. They had no supports, so they are now shaken and disordered. The next thing up is, do they maintain contact? Or do they not? So let us roll for each unit to see if either unit stays in contact with that unit. All right, so the little dice will be the herdman, and the big dice will be the Bondi unit. Let's see. Evens, they stay in contact. Odds, they stay where they are. I rolled odds for both. What are the odds of that? Odds and odds, huh? So now they both stay there. That unit gets a little bit of a reprieve then. Interesting. Well, that was kind of a mixed bag for the Saxon left. So let's move down here and see what happens with the center. And I'll move the camera and we'll roll some dice. Okay, so all is not lost yet for the Saxon forces. These combats here between all the Huskarls and the herdmen right here, and then this unit right there of Bondi and Creole going together. That's pretty much an equal fight. We'll see what goes on here. It's not all lost yet. All right, let's first off, we will do this unit of Huskarls against this unit of Huskarls. Actually, that's Thanes, and these are the Huskarls. So, that'll be interesting. It'll really come down to which Thane or Herdman unit does the best, I think, because I think it's going to be kind of a wash probably for each of the Huskarl units. Okay, so with the Viking Huskarls moving in, they will have 7 attacks. Oh yeah, oof. And they are vicious. My goodness, they're stubborn, they're elite, they're tough fighters, and they're valiant. Oof. 4, 7. Okay. All right. Okay, we're doing this combat right here. So charging in, so they get the 3+. Ooh, and then we get to re-roll this one. So all 7 are successful. All right, there's 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see if they can save on their 4+. Ooh, that's bad. That's bad. Well, they do get to reroll 1 morale save, that's for certain. So let's see if they can save another one. And they do. So they actually take 4 damage, which is okay. So let's move this up and over. Let's see if I can get that to move over. Not a good hockey player, apparently. Okay. So coming back, the Thanes will have their 7 attacks. Hitting on 4s. And being that's tough fighters as well. They get to reroll 1. So they hit 6 times. So the Viking Huskarls need to save on a 4+ on, oops, sorry, on 6+. I mean 6+, on 4+. Oh, they saved them all. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there's a break test for those guys. All right. Coming back down. So we'll just add this dice back in. And we'll add 2 big dice for the sub-commanders. So we are now doing this combat here. This will be Herdman against the Saxon Huskarls. So 3+. Alright, so nope, and nope. But one of these gets to be re-rolled, and it's a hit as well. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8 successful hits. Oops. Do this because I'm on the side of the camera. Alright, so I need another white dice. Okay. So the Saxon Huskarls save on a 4+. They need a stellar save just like their counterparts did. They saved 4 but took 4. Okay, so again, see if I can get that over there. I need one of those things like you see in those old World War II movies where they got that like a T-square thing that they move units around with. That'd be cool. So the Saxon Huskarls are coming and back with their 7 attacks, needing 4+. Oh, and 2 for their commander. So what do we get here? Nope, no. Nope, and nope. Nope. But a 1 reroll for tough fighter. No. So they did 4. So the Vikings roll for saves, morale saves. And they saved 3 and only took 1. Interesting. So, oh man. So both of those units have to take break tests. Interesting. Well, Saxon forces better roll high this time. And I mean high. All right, so the first unit here, they lost the combat by 4. This is Thane unit. They don't have anything other than tough fighter, so I rolled an 8 minus 4 is Okay, that unit will give ground together with supports. They have no supports, but they will be disordered. Okay, for the combat with the two sub-commanders in there, that'd be this combat right in here. Oh, no. No. Oh, bummer. So they're destroyed. God, that's awful. Okay. Well, I guess I should have went ahead and done this combat as well. Huh. Yeah, that's going to be awful. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and work out. Let's clean this up, this mess up right in here. Then we'll do this combat, and then we'll see where we go from here. All right, let's look at this. This is the center combat. The Thanes were pushed up the hill, and these Huskarls kept in contact with them. These herdmen destroyed the Huskarls of the Saxon forces and did a sweeping advance. Well, they did one move, and then they turned to face this this unit. Can they do that? Can you turn? I think a sweeping advance, you just got to go forward. I think I'm going to turn that unit back up, facing that direction. Yeah, I think that's a mistake. I'm going to look at it again, but I think that you can only go straight ahead with that movement. The Viking general is going to continue moving forward. Get up there, my little man. He's going to continue to move forward. And now let's roll for this combat here. The Saxon general, because of the advance of this unit here, he had to make a move within 12 inches to get to safety. And the closest unit he could get to that has not fought combat yet is this one right here. And so I just moved him to be there. He is not going to add his dice to the combat. He's just running away from those guys. Okay? So let us roll some dice for this combat right here. This is going to tell the tale, I think. All right. Come on, you Creoles. Hang in there. All right. So the Vikings, because they're Vikings, they were going to have 7 attacks, hitting on 3 pluses. Wow. Okay. Well, that's pretty doggone good. And then 6, needing 6s. They saved 1, took 5 points of damage, which doesn't surprise me any. Like a pool cue. Boink. Here we go. So the Saxon unit now has 5 points of damage. Fighting back, I probably should have closed ranks with those guys. That's what I probably should have done. Oh well. All right, so they come back. Oh, they only have 6. Because this is a clash. If it goes on any longer, then they have 7 and the Vikings have 6. Okay, so 4 plus to hit. Oh dear. Oh, I guess I should roll that out there like that so you can see it. But yeah, they only hit 1 time. And so the Vikings, they need a 6. And of course, they saved that. Wow. And with the army general in there, this could be bad. Losing the combat by 5. Let's roll for the Saxons again. Jiminy Christmas. Terrible, terrible day for the Saxons. All right. Well, that was pretty quick and bloody. So now the army general's dead. One of the sub-commanders is dead. Let's see, there was 1, 2, 5 units in that division. Wow. Two. There'll only be 2 of them left, so that division's broken. The other division has 1 shaken and just 2 left. So, wow. That game went really, really quickly. I was surprised at the way the Saxons were able to win the first one, but this one just went off the rails so quick. So let's clean all this stuff up. We'll talk about the game, talk about the methods, and see if we want to play the rubber match. Okay, let's see. Well, here we're sitting on the pivotal side of the table. It's rare that I have a game, whether I'm playing a human opponent or taking a solo game on, that I see the center where all the best troops are be destroyed that quickly from one side. Normally it's a slugging match, and most of the real issue comes with other troop types. This was very interesting because of the 4 or 3, the Huscarl units and the Thanes, 2 out of the 3 are already destroyed. I have this one is disordered. This unit of Krills is not only shaken, it is also disordered. Just not good. It came unraveled really quickly for the Saxon side. It was just dice rolling, really, when it comes down to it. There wasn't anything that, I had to roll for some tactical things, and I do believe if I'd rolled differently for these guys to maintain contact and to move forward, those sorts of things would have even made it worse. So, yeah, especially if I'd have made that roll for this unit to support here before this combat was fought, this unit may not even be on the table at all to even make it a discussion. Yeah, horrible. Well, and then the Saxon king is dead. Wow. Well, I think we're due for the 3rd game to come up. I will change the terrain up a little bit. Maybe make some changes in unit sizes and stuff. Maybe break it up a little bit so it doesn't all look the same from every game. I don't know, but I did like these 2 units here, both being small. But then again, see, I can take those guys, put that with them, and then they would be a unit of Thanes supported by Berserkers, which gives you basically the same stuff, but takes out all that other things that they have, which actually they did really nothing in the game. Absolutely not. These 2 units, this unit, and this unit right here were stellar. Interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. So, again, I hope you guys kind of like this stuff. This has been kind of fun for me. I love doing this stuff, especially when I don't get a chance to hang with my guys and game a little bit and have them come over, roll some dice, talk some shit, and have a good time. So it's been kind of a down couple of months as far as gaming goes. All right, that's all we got. Maybe next time the Saxons will show up and do a little bit better. Or maybe not. All right, that's enough of this. Everybody stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you next time.